Padre Island is a barrier island located off the coast of South Texas, stretching over 130 miles from Corpus Christi in the north to the Rio Grande in the south. Laguna Madre is a shallow lagoon located on the western side of Padre Island, which runs parallel to the Gulf of Mexico. The water in Laguna Madre is generally calm and shallow, with an average depth of about 3 to 4 feet. The lagoon is home to a variety of marine life, including dolphins, sea turtles, and numerous species of fish, making it a popular spot for fishing, boating, and other water-based activities. Laguna Madre is also an important ecological area with numerous wetlands and other habitats that provide habitat for a wide range of plant and animal species. On August 19, 1962, Hans Fix definitely saw some of the marine wildlife up close. He was a 40-year-old naval veteran and was visiting the lagoon with his wife and 5 children. They had traveled 180 miles from their home in McAllen, Texas to Padre Island. Hans decided to try some fishing. He pieced together his fishing rod, baited his line, and waded out into the lagoon. When he was waist-deep in the water, he cast out his line. There was a gentle breeze in the air, and the water was warm and refreshing as it lapped against Hans' legs. His wife and children remained on the shore, paddling about in the shallows and playing on the beach. It was a Sunday afternoon, and the family were spending some quality time together. Hans was fishing for bass. He cast the line out and reeled it in over and over. He was catching quite a few. As he successfully hauled in his catch, he attached the fish to a stringer. This is a line which is threaded through the fish's gills and mouth to secure them whilst also keeping them alive in the water. It keeps them fresh until you are finished fishing and take them out of the water. Hans tied the stringer to his waist. Droplets of blood entered the water around Hans' legs. Unhooking the fish and threading the metal wire through their gills caused minor damage to them, but it was well worth it. The cut bait that Hans was using also dripped into the water. These molecules were picked up by a predator that, unknown to Hans, was lurking in the lagoon. As the young father continued to fish, the predator moved closer, homing in on the smell of fresh blood and distressed fish. Using their incredible olfactory sense, some sharks can sense chemicals at a concentration as low as 1 part per million. Swiftly, a shark made its way to the waist-high surf. Taken completely by surprise, Hans suddenly felt a sharp tug on his right calf. A shark clamped down its jaws on Hans' leg and pulled his feet out from under him. He fell backwards into the water with a splash. The shark quickly let go. As Hans cried out, the shark came back a second time. It grabbed his leg again, this time slightly higher up. Hans instinctively whacked the shark on its nose with the butt of his fishing rod, bringing the handle down on its snout over and over again as the shark thrashed around in the shallow water. Hans' family and other beachgoers came running to the edge of the water, watching in disbelief as Hans fought off the shark. He tried to stand up as he spluttered and scrabbled around, trying desperately to get his footing on the sea floor. But his leg was seriously injured and bleeding heavily. Then, incredibly, the shark came for him a third time. A nearby swimmer, Bob Lauer from Harlingen, heard his distressed cries for help. When he looked over, he could see the boiling of the water caused by the shark thrashing in it. He immediately rushed over to Hans, but was too afraid to get close. He thought there was more than one shark and that they were in a feeding frenzy. Building up every ounce of courage he had, he miraculously managed to grab a hold of Hans' hand and pulled him towards the shore. The shark put up a fight and was gripped onto Hans like a vice, but ultimately let go. As Hans was dragged out of the surf, he left behind a trail of dark red blood. His wounds were serious. His calf was barely hanging on. Bob lay him on the beach as Hans' family rushed to his side along with a large crowd of terrified beachgoers. Bob tied a tourniquet around Hans' leg to prevent him from bleeding out. The flow of blood was stemmed, but they needed to get him to a hospital quickly. An ambulance arrived, but as it departed with Hans inside, it tragically broke down. In a devastating twist, Hans had to wait 20 minutes for a replacement vehicle. He was holding on to life with everything he had. Through sheer grit and determination, he fought for every breath. He eventually made it to a physician in Port Isabel. When he arrived, he had almost bled out. He had managed to tell the physician, Dr. Hockaday, that he had been bitten by a shark and had fought it off. The doctor knew instantly that Hans needed a whole blood transfusion, but he didn't have any at his office. Instead, he gave Hans an IV line with glucose solution and sent him immediately to Mercy Hospital in Brownsville, 20 miles away. Hans made it to the hospital and straight away they gave him a blood transfusion. But it was too late. Hans had lost too much blood and succumbed to his injuries 2.5 hours after the attack. This is a tragic tale in which a young man's life could have been saved if treatment had begun sooner. He left behind his wife and 5 young children who heartbreakingly witnessed the entire attack. The species of shark was never identified, and Hans told the doctor that he never saw the shark in the water until it clamped its jaws around his lower leg. He, too, was unable to provide any identifying details about the shark, but due to a combination of the location, the behavior of the shark, and eyewitness reports, it has led some people to believe that the shark that attacked Hans Fix on Padre Island may have been a bull shark. Firstly, bull sharks are a common sight in the Gulf of Mexico and are known to be one of the most aggressive species of sharks. They often continuously attack, unlike the great white shark who often bites and releases. Secondly, the attack on Hans Fix occurred in shallow water, close to the shore, and bull sharks are known to prefer such environments where they can easily ambush their prey. They are also known as opportunistic feeders and will attack humans if they mistake them for prey. Thirdly, eyewitness accounts of the attack on Hans Fix suggest that the shark involved was large and aggressive, traits that are commonly associated with bull sharks. Some witnesses also reported seeing a fin shape that resembled that of a bull shark, further adding to the suspicion that this species was responsible for the attack. Only the year before, a study conducted in the US concluded that Texas was one of the few states that had never witnessed a fatal shark attack. Although there were unofficial fatal attacks, Texas was still known to be one of the safest places to swim. But there was always going to be a first time, and it was common for fishermen to witness sharks stealing fish from stringers tied to the sides of boats or piers. Having one tied to your waist perhaps wasn't the smartest thing to do, however safe you think the water is. Despite how low the chance of an attack, anytime you get into the water, you may just meet your unfortunate final affliction.